championship bound, baby! Woo! Big love, baby! Woo! Here, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow! Let's go!
June 17th wasn't just a game. It was personal. Remember May 30th? Jacy Sheldon and the Connecticut Sun left Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Coulson banged up, and no one paid for it. No fines, no suspensions, just silence. But the Fever didn't forget. So when Sheldon poked Caitlin Clark straight in the eye during the rematch, oh, it was on. You could feel the switch flip. And what happened next? Let's just say Sophie Cunningham wasn't about to let it slide. What she did after that hit, pure revenge. The kind of flagrant foul that made every Fever fan jump out of their seat. If you ride with Clark and the crew, drop CC and Spicy Sophie in the comments. This one was personal.
It was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with Jacy Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting.
So she can do that.
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye. And
Now picture this, May 30th, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. And from the jump, it was a nightmare for the Fever. What looked like a normal game turned ugly fast. The Sun didn't just come to compete, they came swinging. Hard screens, elbows flying, and the kind of hits that made you wince just watching. This wasn't basketball. It felt like something else.
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? 2 players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was Jacy Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Coulson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Coulson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Sophie Cunningham was the first to go down, and it didn't look like an accident. That hit, way too hard for a basic basketball play. Then it got worse. Sydney Coulson took a hit too. Another sketchy move that had everyone staring at the refs like, are you seriously not seeing this? And guess who was at the center of both plays? Jacy Sheldon, playing so aggressive, it didn't look like hustle. It looked like a hit list. The whole thing felt off. Real office.
They weren't non-contact. They weren't ACLs. They weren't Achilles. They were contact injuries caused by the same player. And this kind of physicality that the WNBA they brag about. They say it's always been a physical league. That's just the heart of the It's not good basketball. And we've seen so many injuries. Paige Becker's out with a concussion. Rakia Jackson was out with a concussion. All of these injuries are contact plays. We've seen Caitlin Clark last year get chucked to the ground. We saw Angel Reese get clothesline chucked to the ground. The players continue to do it because the refs are allowing them. Why wouldn't you keep doing it if you're a physical player?
Here's where things get even messier. This beef didn't start in the WNBA. Sheldon and Clark, they've had smoke since college. Back when it was Iowa versus Ohio State. Sheldon made it her full-time job to mess with Clark. Every game, she was in her face, bumping her on screens, talking trash nonstop, sticking to her like glue. It wasn't just defense. It was psychological warfare. And by now, it wasn't just a rivalry. It was personal.
Her mortal enemy took out a player. Jacy Sheldon. Caitlin Clark's mortal enemy. Jacy Sheldon.
The refs that day? It was like they were watching a different game. Blatant fouls, ignored. Dangerous hits, no whistles, nothing. Clark had to stand there, helpless, watching her teammates get taken out, while Sheldon kept doing damage and didn't even get a warning. With every possession, the anger kept building. The Fever fought like hell but still lost 85-83. But that wasn't the real loss. Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Coulson both went down, injured, and it didn't have to happen. Not if the refs had done their job. And now, the Fever were down 2 Warriors when they needed them most.
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. And this angle makes it look even worse. It is dangerous. Like, Sid Coulson is between her and the ball. Sid Coulson is, in fact, between Jacy Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul. It wasn't even called as a foul.
You could see it in Clark's eyes after that loss. The way she stared Sheldon down in the handshake line, cold. The way she answered questions after the game, controlled, but you could hear the fire underneath. This wasn't over, not even close. The Fever remembered. Clark remembered who caused the injuries, who let it happen. And they circled June 17th in bold red ink. When that day finally came, Clark was back. Fresh off a quad injury and a statement win against the undefeated Liberty. This was just her second game back after 3 weeks off. But the moment she stepped on that court, you knew. This wasn't just another matchup. This was unfinished business.
She just texts me. She never texts me during the game.
All right. Here is Clark splashing home a three from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench.
Jacy Sheldon is there with her hand in her face.
Tip-off hits and the tension, you can feel it in your chest. It's thick, heavy. Sheldon locks in on Clark like it's life or death. Way too close, way too aggressive. Every possession, she's right there, bodying Clark, bumping her on screens, throwing elbows that don't look accidental. It's not defense anymore. It's harassment. It's the same reckless energy that took out Sophie and Sydney back in May. And now, everyone in the arena knows what's coming. It's just a matter of when.
Caitlin Clark are talking to the official. They're both going at it saying, hey, oh, there's a little extra right there. Uh-oh. Then Marina steps in to protect JC.
Then the third quarter hits, and everything changes. Clark's bringing the ball up the court, focused, locked in, and here comes Sheldon. She steps in like she's going for a steal. But instead, her finger jams straight into Clark's eye. You can see it right away. Clark's head jerks back. Her face twists in pain. It's not subtle. It's not a maybe. It's blatant. And just like that, the whole game flips.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and Jacy Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabry comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Clark grabs her face instantly. Pain, shock, and fury all hitting at once. She's squinting, trying to clear her vision. But you can tell her mind's racing. This wasn't just a random hit. This was the same player who took out her teammates. And now, she's going for Clark the same dirty way. No accident, not this time. So Clark does what anyone would do. She shoves Sheldon off her, hard. She just got poked in the eye, and instinct kicks in. The crowd erupts. They saw it. Everyone did. But the refs? Oh no. They're about to make it all worse.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabry. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
Clark's holding her eye, clearly hurt, clearly the victim. But then, the refs blow the whistle. Confusion sweeps the arena. Fans are yelling, pointing at the replay boards showing the obvious eye poke. It's right there in slow motion. But the refs? They've already made up their minds. They hit Clark with a technical foul. For what? For pushing back after someone jabbed her in the eye? For defending herself? The crowd loses it. No one can believe it. Clark just dropped 32 points in her first game back from injury. And now she's being punished for reacting to the same player who hurt her teammates? It makes no sense. None. And worse, it sends a message. You can target Clark with dirty plays, and if she reacts, she's the one who gets hit with the penalty. But this was just the beginning, because Marina Mabry saw everything. And what she did next took it to a whole different level.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. Jacy Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina, trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabry, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul.
Right after Clark gets slapped with that bogus technical, Marina Mabry makes her move, and it's bad. Clark's still blinking through the eye pain, trying to shake it off when Mabry walks over and does something that stuns the entire arena. No one saw it coming. Not the crowd, not the refs, not even Clark. But what Mabry did next, it took the chaos to a whole new level.
That's what Clark didn't like. And then Mabry came in with a bump.
And Mabry's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But both teams.
This wasn't basketball. This was straight up assault. Mabry came in like it was hockey, not hoops, and body-checked Clark so hard she flew backward and crashed onto the floor. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't accidental. It was dirty. Period. Even the most casual fans in the stands could see it for what it was. A cheap shot, loud and clear. Clark hit the court hard, stunned. And as she sat there, the look on her face said it all. Another Connecticut Sun player just took a shot at her, and no one was stopping it.
And Marina Mabry comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabry, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
The entire Fever bench erupts. They just watched their star player get assaulted, right in front of the refs, and nothing's being done. Players are yelling, pointing at Mabry, begging the officials to wake up and do their jobs. The crowd's going wild, not cheering, but screaming in disbelief. This is happening on their home court. Coach Stephanie White is losing it on the sideline, absolutely furious. She's shouting, waving her arms, pointing straight at Mabry like, "Are you blind?" She knows what just happened. Everyone does. Clark just got targeted again, and the refs are about to blow another call.
Now, after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the three referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
And then the refs make it worse. Again, they give Mabry a common technical foul. That's it. The same penalty Clark got for pushing someone after getting poked in the eye. Let that sink in. Clark defends herself. Technical foul. Mabry body checks her to the floor. Same technical. Make it make sense. The crowd's stunned. The Fever bench is fuming. The math doesn't add up, and everyone in that arena knows it.
The announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabry, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And Jacy Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
Coach White snaps in the post-game press conference. She doesn't hold back. When the refs don't control the game, when they let this stuff slide, this is what happens. You can hear the frustration in her voice. This isn't just about one game. It's been building all season. She's done watching her players get targeted while the officials just stand there doing nothing. And now she's calling it out loud and clear.
When they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
By now, the message was loud and clear. The refs weren't going to protect Clark, so her teammates, they'd handle it themselves. And Sophie Cunningham, she'd been watching everything from the bench, every dirty play, every cheap shot, every no call, and she'd had enough. Final minute. Fever's up 87-70. Game's basically over. But Sophie sees Jacy Sheldon with the ball. And suddenly, the score doesn't matter anymore. What matters? May 30th, when she got taken out, Clark's eye poke, Mabry's body check, all of it. It's burning in her brain. And now, it's time for payback.
So now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham. At the end of the game, Jacy Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like it happened in a split second and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here.
Cunningham remembers her own injury from that brutal May game. She remembers sitting on the bench hurt while Sheldon walked around like nothing happened. She remembers the officials letting everything slide while her teammates got targeted. Now Sheldon is driving to the basket, and Cunningham sees her chance.
Sophie commits a hard foul on Jacy Sheldon. Again, as Jacy Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional.
Sophie locks in on Sheldon, and then boom. She lines her up and delivers the most satisfying flagrant foul you'll ever see. Sophie wraps her up hard, pulls her down to the floor, and makes one thing crystal clear. This wasn't a basketball play. This was payback. This was justice. It was Sophie Cunningham letting the whole league know, you don't mess with my teammates. The refs hit her with a flagrant 2, automatic ejection. Sheldon and Lindsay Allen get tossed too for jumping in the chaos. 3 players gone. But by then, the message was already delivered. The damage was done. And justice, finally, got served.
It was, to me, payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure Jacy. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it. We'll take care of it, but this is not what you're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down. But with that, you guys, Jacy Sheldon got up and she was ready to go. So as you guys can see in this video, a whole scuffle breaks out. Sophie and Jacy are going after it. Both teams are running over, trying to break it up. It kind of goes into the fan section a little bit.
Clark wraps the night with 20 points and 6 assists, leading the Fever to an 88-71 win. But this one felt way bigger than just a final score. Natasha Howard drops her 50th career double-double, 16 points, 12 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell adds 17 of her own. Total team effort. But let's be real, everyone knows what this game really was. It wasn't about stats. It was about sending a message. The scoreboard said win, but what the Fever delivered, that was justice, wrapped in revenge.
A rare miss at the rim for Aaliyah Boston, the league's top field goal percentage shooter in the WNBA, but it's Boston who comes up with the steal and the find to Howard. Clark working on the rookie. Clark on the drive. Hang, shot too strong. There's Howard to clean up.
And Clark working off the ball, comes off the stagger.
Third year in her WNBA in terms of setting up her teammates. Clark behind the back, feed inside. 2 more for Howard.
This wasn't just about beating the Sun. This was the Fever standing tall and saying, we don't get bullied, we don't get pushed around, and we protect our own. The win, it locked them into their first ever Commissioner's Cup final. Huge moment for the franchise. But the real statement, that was for the rest of the league. You come for one of us, you deal with all of us. Message sent, loud and clear.
The Indiana Fever fans were chanting, Sophie, Sophie. Sophie's jersey is gonna sell out tonight. She's gonna be in the All-Star game tonight just from this one play because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle and I don't think anybody wanted that.
The Fever got their revenge after that brutal May 30th loss. Clark got her justice after getting eye poked and body checked. Sophie Cunningham became a hero for standing up when it mattered most. Sometimes the officials won't protect you, but your teammates always will. That's exactly what happened on June 17th when the Indiana Fever showed the basketball world they're not backing down from anybody.
Oh, and Clark just took it away. It's a 2-on-1. Clark bounce pass, pretty find. And Mitchell won't miss from there.
This game proved something bigger than talent. The Indiana Fever, they're a family. When things get rough, when the refs stay silent, teammates like Sophie Cunningham step up and handle it themselves. That's real loyalty. That's what it means to ride for each other in pro sports. Now they're heading to the Commissioner's Cup final on July 1st to face the Minnesota Lynx. And after seeing how this squad battles through adversity, Fever fans, 2025 is starting to look special. So next time someone tells you loyalty doesn't exist in this league, just say one name, Sophie Cunningham. If you're with the Fever, drop CC and Spicy Sophie in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment.